Hello everyone, my name is Floyd Richmond. Today we're going to look at the New York Standards for the Arts. We're going to begin by going to this particular website. You can get there a couple of different ways. You can type in this very lengthy address. Just hit the pause button if you need to see it longer. Or you can just Google New York State Education Department Arts Standards 2017. I'm confident that one of the first links that will come up will be this particular page. If you do reach this page, Curriculum Instruction, New York State Education Department.gov, then you will be able to scroll down the page. You will see here a Learning Standards for the Arts 2017 link. If you click on that, it will take you then to this page. Scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see these New York State Art Standards at a glance. Since we're talking about music today, we're going to take a look at the music standards at a glance. I'll just go ahead and click on that and open it up. Now, we're just going to jump right into the content. So everyone should be aware that, as it says here on the cover, together we, number one, create, number two, perform, present and produce, and number three, respond, and number four, connect. These are the common core standards with which all music teachers are acquainted because the National Association for Music Educators also uses the same set of standards. New York has adopted them as well. I'm going to scroll down to the page 2. There's some interesting information here that many of you will find useful. We're going to go down to page 3, and on page 3 we're going to zoom in on some of the content here in particular that is found useful. New York standards are basically centered around these four common core processes that we just talked about. Creating is the process of composing music. It could also encompass activities such as improvisation on the spot. The next activity is performing, presenting, and producing. And so this is used probably as the bread and butter for most of our performance ensembles. Certainly performance is a big goal for us in many of our ensembles. The third category is responding. This would be listening to music, analyzing the music, and this particular item is used a lot in our music appreciation classes, any music theory classes, learning about music where we would have to analyze and respond to it. It could also be used in elementary general music classes where we are walking to the music or marching to the beat or illustrating the beat kinetically in some manner. The final category is connecting, or final artistic process is connecting. Connecting means a lot of different things, but I'll just mention a couple of the things that it mentioned, and we're going to amplify this just a little bit when we get down into our next topic of the anchor standards. Connecting largely means that we are building bridges between music and other things. It could be music and other disciplines. So let's say if you were talking about history and music, and you talk about the ethos of the age or the spirit of the age or the affect of the age, and you begin to talk about that also in music, then that's building a bridge. If you are talking about music and other fine arts such as dance and theater and painting, and how there were similar strains of thought going on at the same time, then you are connecting. If you are making connections to math and science and English, and if you're using music to help teach concepts other than music, then you are building those bridges of connection. So the four common core standards define the artistic processes for us. They are creating, performing, responding, and connecting. Notice that there is the New York standards use abbreviations to represent each of these, and in fact, anytime you're doing an activity that addresses music, you're going to identify that as a part of your coding of your objectives. You will start with MU. You'll also identify the artistic process, and you'll also identify the anchor standards as well. So anchored standards for creating include such activities as generating and conceptualizing artistic ideas. This would be the lowest level of creating. It basically is, what do you do when you want to compose something? Well, the first thing you do is you brainstorm, you think of ideas, maybe you hum some melodies, or you listen to some music that will inspire you to generate those ideas. Item number 2 is organizing and developing artistic ideas. So once you have some musical ideas, unless you're a Mozart, they don't come out in finished form. So you have to spend a little bit of time going, oh, I think this part would be good for the beginning section of the piece, and this idea would be good for the middle section of the piece, and this might be good for the ending. So there's a lot of organization that has to happen there. The next area that we're going to delve into is the third area of creating, or third anchor standard for creating, which is refining and completing the artistic ideas and work. So after you have the idea on paper, there is always a process of putting that extra polish on it and making everything just right, making sure your articulations are correct, making sure your dynamics have been entered in, that all of the elements of the style or genre that you're writing in have been built into the compositional process and are identified. So, 3 different levels of creating: generating and conceptualizing, organizing and developing, and refining and completing. Likewise, there are 3 different levels of performance-based activities, presentation-based activities, or production-based activities. And those include analyze, interpret, and select artistic works for presentation. Very often the director does a lot of that work for our performing ensembles. Number 5 is developing and refining artistic techniques and works for presentation. That's part of the rehearsal process that all of us are involved in music. Number 6 is conveying meaning through the presentation of artistic work. Well, that is the actual performance itself. So 4 might have to do with preparing for the performance. 5 might have to do with rehearsing for the performance. And, 4 might have some rehearsal things in it as well in terms of interpretation. And then 6 might very well have to do with the performance itself. Likewise, there are 3 categories or 3 anchor standards for the responding process. Number 7 is perceiving and analyzing artistic work. 8 is interpreting intent and meaning in artistic work. 9 is applying criteria to evaluate artistic work. So in terms of responding, perceiving is just the listening process. In other words, you're going to listen to the piece before you can actually respond to it. Analyzing is also going to be required. So what am I hearing? Is this, let's say you're in an elementary classroom marching to the beat. Am I hearing a beat that is this, or am I hearing a beat that is double time? And so there's a bit of an analysis, even in the simplest responding task, that is necessary. Developing and refining artistic technique, interpreting intent and meaning in artistic work would largely be a listening activity, maybe a description activity. What is the composer trying to say? What forms are they using, and so on. And then the highest level of responding is actually applying criteria to evaluate artistic work. So in other words, how are these 2 arrangements different? How are these 2 compositions different or the same? How is this arrangement better than that arrangement? So once again, there's a hierarchy of responding. 7, 8, and 9 advance from simple to complex. The connecting standard has 2 anchor standards as well, and the first connecting standard is synthesizing and relating knowledge and personal experiences to make art. And the second connecting standard is relating artistic ideas and works with societal, cultural, and historical context to deepen understanding. Okay, so each of these numbers is used in building the standards that reference, or the codes that reference the music standards. As we incorporate standards into our lesson plans, we're going to begin with the characters MU to indicate that we're working on a music lesson plan. We're going to jump to one of the artistic processes that's going to be used, and it would be CR, PR, or RD, or CN for each of those Common Core standards. And then we would also indicate the number, and typically the numbers also come with additional codes that are defined in the rest of the standards document. I'm not going to actually drill down deeper right now to show you those additional numbers, but you should be aware that as you read this entire document, you get 1-1 and 1-2 and that type of thing. So you also, in your coding of your standards, indicate the level, and each grade level is indicated by a letter number or high school followed by a Roman numeral, HS for high school followed by a Roman numeral. So if your standard that you're writing is for a pre-K experience, you end it with PK. If it's for kindergarten, you end it with K. If it's traditional grades 1 through 8, this would be the elementary grade levels or secondary grade levels, then you would end it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. There are 3 levels of high school objectives. The high school proficient is high school 1, the high school accomplished is high school 2, and the high school advanced is high school 3. There are some additional markers here that can be used for special topics such as technology, composition, traditional emerging instruments, and harmonizing instruments. So the New York State Standards address each of those 4 categories as well, and should your activities be in one of those, then you would end with some of those as well. So as I continue down into the second portion of the document where it actually addresses each of the standards, you will notice that we have pre-K activities, and these standards are built according to the terms that we just talked about. MU is for music, CR is for creating, 1.1 is your anchor standard, and then PK indicates the pre-K grade level. So hopefully by now it should be clear how you would build those anchor standards. The rest of this document goes into great depth explaining each of the standards in greater detail, and also addressing each of the different levels. So I highly commend this entire document to you. I just moved notice that the blue section up here is music creating. As I move through the document, I also come to the music performance section. And as I continue to move through the document, I come to the third, well, performance is pretty long, to the red section, which is music responding. And then beyond music responding, of course, we're going to have connecting. And the connecting is kind of golden, yellow, orangish color here. I should mention, and I didn't talk about this, but down here we have some special areas such as harmonizing instruments, and those would be indicated if your standards, if your activities are falling into those categories. Okay, that's a quick overview of the New York State Standards. Basically, they are based on the Common Core standards. They identify 4 Common Core standards. They identify multiple processes, anchor standards, and we include a good bit of information as we describe each standard, including all the codes that are found there. All right, hope this is helpful. Thank you very much.